While the Great Fire of London, 1666, occurred decades after his death, it destroyed many of the original theaters and documents related to his life. However, because his plays had already been published in the First Folio and were being performed across the country, his legacy survived the flames. His words were already rooted in the hearts of the people. Throughout the years of fire and plague, the image of Shakespeare remained one of a dignified man in modest, long-sleeved Elizabethan attire and full breeches. He showed that ideas written with absolute conviction and beauty are more durable than stone or wood, surviving the physical destruction of the world that created them. Shakespeare and the King's English. Shakespeare's influence on the English language is so vast that it is often called the King's English or Shakespeare's English. He didn't just write stories, he gave the language its rhythm, its metaphors, and its soul. He bridged the gap between the common street slang of London and the elevated speech of the court. During his linguistic explorations, Shakespeare was always a figure of intellectual discipline. He wore modest, long-sleeved shirts and full breeches. His respectable appearance reflected his role as a guardian of language. He proved that a poet's most important task is to provide the tools for a nation to express its deepest thoughts and most complex emotions. The mystery of the Dark Lady. In many of his later sonnets, Shakespeare addresses a mysterious dark lady. Unlike the idealized women of traditional poetry, she is portrayed with all her flaws and complexities. This shift in poetic tradition was revolutionary, showing Shakespeare's desire for emotional realism over shallow perfection. During the quiet hours of writing these personal verses, Shakespeare would have maintained a modest appearance, typically wearing long-sleeved indoor robes and full-length breeches. He was a man who understood the beauty of the real world. He proved that true art does not hide from the truth, but embraces the complexity of human relationships with dignity and respect. The entrepreneur of Stratford. Shakespeare was not a starving artist, he was a very successful businessman. He invested in local tithes, land, and malt production in Stratford. He understood that financial independence was the key to artistic freedom. He managed his wealth with the same precision he applied to his plays. During his business negotiations in the market square of Stratford, Shakespeare was a model of professional modesty. He wore formal, long-sleeved, merchant-style doublets and full breeches, his respectable and fully covered appearance commanding the trust of his fellow townsmen. He showed that an artist can also be a master of the practical world, securing a legacy for his family and his town. Fact 3. The mystery of his lost years. After his marriage to Anne Hathaway in 1582, there is a 7-year period in Shakespeare's life, from 1585 to 1592, from which almost no records survive. These are famously known as his lost years. Historians speculate he might have worked as a schoolmaster, traveled, or even joined a traveling acting troupe, honing his craft in obscurity before arriving in London. The absence of clear records only adds to the mystique surrounding his transition from a provincial life to the glittering world of Elizabethan theater. During this period, whatever his profession, Shakespeare would have maintained a modest appearance, typically wearing long-sleeved tunics and full breeches, as was customary for men of his social standing, quietly preparing for his destiny as the world's greatest playwright. Fact 4. Arrival in London and the theater scene. By 1592, Shakespeare had established himself in London's thriving theater scene, albeit initially as an upstart crow, according to a jealous rival. London was a vibrant, chaotic metropolis, and its theaters were the heart of public entertainment. He would have started as an actor, learning the practicalities of staging, character development, and audience engagement firsthand. This direct experience in the cutthroat world of Elizabethan drama provided him with an unparalleled understanding of what worked on stage. During his early days in London, Shakespeare would have dressed modestly but respectably, in long-sleeved doublets and full breeches, fitting in with the professional class of artists, eagerly absorbing the pulse of the city that would become the backdrop for many of his immortal tales. Fact 5. The Lord Chamberlain's Men, later the King's Men. Shakespeare became a principal shareholder and playwright for the Lord Chamberlain's Men, one of the most successful acting companies of the Elizabethan and Jacobean eras. This collaborative environment allowed him to test his ideas directly on stage with experienced actors, refining his dialogue and plot lines. His financial success was largely due to his partnership in this company, a smart business move for an artist. In his role as a respected member of the company, Shakespeare was always seen in modest but high-quality long-sleeved professional doublets and full breeches, ensuring he was respectably covered. This stable artistic home allowed his genius to flourish, producing a constant stream of masterpieces that captivated London audiences and secured his legacy. Fact 6. Building the Globe Theatre. In 1969, Shakespeare and his acting company faced a challenge when their lease expired. Instead of giving up, they boldly dismantled their old playhouse, the theatre, and rebuilt it as the Globe on the south bank of the Thames. This iconic open-air theatre became the primary venue for many of his greatest plays. It was an ambitious feat of entrepreneurship, transforming him from a mere artist into a businessman. During the construction and management of the Globe, Shakespeare would have dressed practically but respectably, in modest, long-sleeved tunics and full breeches, reflecting his hands-on involvement in the business. The Globe became a testament to his vision, a stage where his words would truly come to life and transport thousands to new worlds. Fact 7. The Master of the Sonnet. While famous for his plays, Shakespeare was also a sublime poet, composing 154 sonnets that are considered among the finest in the English language. These intricate 14-line poems explore themes of love, beauty, time, and mortality with profound emotional depth. They reveal a more intimate and personal side of the bard, often addressed to a mysterious, fair youth and a dark lady. During his solitary moments of poetic composition, Shakespeare would have been seen in modest, long-sleeved indoor robes or doublets and full breeches, reflecting the quiet contemplation required for such intricate artistry. His sonnets demonstrated his versatility, proving that his genius extended beyond the stage to the very heart of lyrical expression, touching universal human feelings. Fact 8. Historical plays, Kings and Chronicles. Shakespeare's historical plays, such as Richard III, Henry IV, and Henry V, brought the turbulent history of England vividly to life for his audience. He adapted chronicles, transforming dry historical facts into gripping dramas of power, ambition, and fate. These plays served as both entertainment and a form of patriotic education, reinforcing a sense of national identity in Elizabethan England. For his research and during his time at the theatre, Shakespeare would have been seen in modest, long-sleeved tunics and full breeches, his attire reflecting the gravity of the profound human questions he was grappling with, giving voice to the universal struggles that define our shared existence. Fact 9. Tragedies, the depths of human soul. His great tragedies, Hamlet, Othello, King Lear, and Macbeth, are perhaps his most enduring works. In these plays, Shakespeare delved into the darkest corners of the human psyche, exploring themes of madness, betrayal, ambition, and the inevitability of fate. He created characters so complex and emotionally resonant that they continue to challenge and move audiences centuries later. During the intense creative process of writing these masterpieces, Shakespeare would have maintained a serious and focused demeanor. He would have worn modest, long-sleeved doublets and full breeches, his attire reflecting the gravity of the profound human questions he was grappling with, giving voice to the universal struggles that define our shared existence. Fact 10. Comedies, laughter and lightness. Shakespeare's comedies, such as A Midsummer Night's Dream, Twelfth Night, and As You Like It, showcase his incredible versatility and his talent for wit, wordplay, and romantic entanglement. These plays often feature mistaken identities, clever disguises, and happy endings, providing joyous escapism for his audiences. His ability to balance profound tragedy with light-hearted humor is a hallmark of his genius. During the staging of these lively comedies, Shakespeare would have dressed respectably but functionally, in modest, long-sleeved doublets and full breeches, his attire reflecting the gravity of the profound human questions he was grappling with, giving voice to the universal struggles that define our shared existence. Fact 11. The power of language. Neologisms. Shakespeare is credited with inventing or popularizing thousands of words and phrases that are still in common use today. Words like eyeball, swagger, lonely, and phrases like wild goose chase or break the ice originated in his plays. He expanded the English language, making it richer and more expressive. His linguistic creativity was unparalleled, forever shaping the way we speak and think. During his writing, Shakespeare was a constant innovator, often seen in his study, dressed in modest, long-sleeved indoor robes and full breeches, his attire reflecting the quiet, disciplined focus required to bend language to his will, forever enriching the lexicon of the English-speaking world. Fact 12. His acting career. Beyond writing, Shakespeare was also an actor in his own plays, though he never played the leading roles. It is believed he played minor parts, such as the Ghost in Hamlet or Adam in As You Like It. This dual role gave him invaluable insight into the practical demands of performance, allowing him to write lines that resonated perfectly with actors and audiences alike. During his performances, Shakespeare would have worn modest, long-sleeved period costumes, ensuring full coverage while embodying his characters, bringing his own words to life on stage. His first-hand experience in both writing and performing made him a truly unique and masterful man of the theater. Fact 13. Patronage from royalty. Shakespeare's acting company enjoyed the patronage of both Queen Elizabeth I and later King James I, who renamed the company the King's Men. Royal patronage brought not only financial stability, but also immense prestige, allowing his plays to be performed at court. This royal endorsement cemented his status as a leading cultural figure of his time. When attending court or meeting with nobles, Shakespeare would have dressed in his finest, modest, long-sleeved doublets and full breeches, ensuring he was respectably covered and representing his profession with dignity. His proximity to power allowed him to observe the very highest echelons of society, insights which he masterfully wove into his narratives of kings and queens. Fact 14. The First Folio. 7 years after Shakespeare's death, two of his fellow actors, John Hemingway and Henry Condell, compiled and published the First Folio in 1623. This collection preserved 36 of his plays, many of which might have been lost forever without their efforts. It is one of the most important books in English literature. Without the First Folio, nearly half of Shakespeare's works would not exist today. The meticulous effort to preserve his work reflected the deep respect his peers had for his genius. The scholarly endeavor would have involved many hours in libraries, where men of letters, dressed in modest, long-sleeved robes and full breeches, worked to ensure the legacy of a master would live on for eternity. Fact 15. Stratford's new place. By the height of his career, Shakespeare had amassed considerable wealth. In 1597, he purchased New Place, the second largest house in Stratford-upon-Avon. This grand residence signified his transformation from a glover's son to a prosperous gentleman, a testament to his success in London's cutthroat theater world. He had invested wisely, ensuring a comfortable retirement. While managing his property and investments, Shakespeare would have dressed in respectable long-sleeved doublets and full breeches, fitting for a man of his elevated social standing and wealth, maintaining his modest but professional appearance even in his private life, a symbol of his hard-earned success. Fact 16. The craft of playwriting. Shakespeare's plays were not just works of art, they were also commercial products, written to be performed for a paying audience. He worked incredibly fast, often writing new plays for specific actors or adapting popular stories to fit public demand. He was a master craftsman, understanding the structure of a good plot, the rhythm of dialogue, and the power of a compelling character. During his relentless writing schedule, Shakespeare would have been seen in his study, typically wearing modest, long-sleeved indoor tunics and full breeches, meticulously drafting his scenes, embodying the disciplined focus of an artist who understood the practical demands of his trade and the necessity of captivating his audience. Fact 17. Global influence. Shakespeare's plays have been translated into every major language and performed more times than any other playwright's works. His themes of love, jealousy, ambition, and revenge are universal, transcending cultures and time. From Japanese samurai films inspired by Macbeth to Bollywood adaptations of Othello, his influence is truly global. He belongs to the world. The enduring power of his words, crafted by a man in a modest, long-sleeved doublet and full breeches in an Elizabethan London study, continues to inspire artists and audiences across every continent, proving that true genius speaks a language understood by all humanity, regardless of their background or creed. Fact 18. The human element. Perhaps Shakespeare's greatest genius lay in his unparalleled understanding of human psychology. His characters are not simply heroes or villains, they are complex individuals grappling with universal dilemmas. He captured the nuances of human emotion with such precision that his insights remain relevant today, making us feel, question, and reflect on our own lives. During his deep observations of society, Shakespeare would have moved discreetly, perhaps in modest, long-sleeved cloaks and full breeches, a keen eye watching the bustling streets of London, absorbing the full spectrum of human joy and sorrow that would later fill the pages of his immortal plays. Fact 19. The second best bed. In his will, Shakespeare famously bequeathed his second best bed to his wife, Anne Hathaway. This seemingly odd detail has fueled centuries of speculation about their relationship. Was it an insult or a cherished personal item? This small human detail reminds us that even the greatest genius had a personal life full of complexities, just like any other person. This private aspect of his life contrasts with his public image, but throughout his life, whether in grand public settings or in the quiet privacy of his home, Shakespeare maintained the modest, respectable attire of his time, with long-sleeved garments and full breeches always ensuring full coverage, reflecting the norms of his society. Fact 20. Retirement to Stratford. Around 1613, Shakespeare retired from the London stage and returned to his hometown of Stratford-upon-Avon, a wealthy and respected gentleman. He spent his final years managing his estates and enjoying the quiet life away from the theatrical bustle. It was a well-deserved rest after a lifetime of intense creative output. During his retirement, Shakespeare would have been seen as a pillar of the community, dressed in comfortable yet respectable, modest long-sleeved civilian robes and full breeches, ensuring he was respectably covered while enjoying the fruits of his labor. He passed away in 1616, leaving behind a legacy that would forever change the course of literature, a testament to the power of a single mind to illuminate the entire human experience. Fact 21. The secretive Shakespeare. Despite his immense fame, we have very few personal letters or diaries written by Shakespeare himself. Most of what we know comes from legal documents, property deeds, and church records. This silence has led to countless theories about who he truly was behind the quill. He was a man who protected his privacy with great discipline. In his private study, Shakespeare would have been a figure of quiet focus, dressed in modest, long-sleeved indoor doublets and full breeches. He allowed his characters to speak for him, while he remained a respectable and covered gentleman of his time, proving that a true creator's soul lives on through their work, rather than through the trivial details of their daily life. Fact 22. Collaborations with other writers. Often collaborated with other playwrights, which was a common practice in the Elizabethan theater. In his later years, he worked closely with John Fletcher on plays like The Two Noble Kinsmen and Henry VIII. These collaborations show that even a genius of his stature was willing to work with others to create something great. During these professional meetings, Shakespeare was a model of artistic modesty. He would have worn formal, long-sleeved professional tunics and full breeches, ensuring he was respectably covered while discussing plot points and dialogue. He proved that true greatness includes the humility to share the creative process with talented peers for the sake of the craft.
Fact 23. The ransom of Richard. The ransom for Richard's release was set at a staggering 150,000 marks, twice the annual income of the English crown. His mother, Eleanor of Aquitaine, worked tirelessly to raise the money, taxing the kingdom to its limits. This massive sum proved how valuable Richard was to his people and his allies. Even in the middle of these intense financial negotiations, Richard remained a figure of calm authority. He appeared in his formal, long-sleeved prisoner's tunics and full trousers, his respectable and fully covered appearance lending weight to his words. He showed that a king must be as skilled with his tongue and his intellect as he is with his sword to defend his honor on the global stage.
Fact 24. Shakespeare and the King's English. Shakespeare's influence on the English language is so vast that it is often called the King's English or Shakespearean English. He didn't just write stories, he gave the language its rhythm, its metaphors, and its soul. He bridged the gap between the common street slang of London and the elevated speech of the court. During his linguistic explorations, Shakespeare was always a figure of intellectual discipline. He wore modest, long-sleeved shirts and full breeches, his respectable appearance reflecting his role as a guardian of language. He proved that a poet's most important task is to provide the tools for a nation to express its deepest thoughts and most complex emotions.
Fact 25. The legend of Blondel the troubadour. A famous legend tells of Blondel, a faithful troubadour who traveled across Europe singing a secret song to find where Richard was imprisoned. When Richard heard the song from his cell, he sang the second verse back, revealing his location. While likely a myth, It reflects Richard's true reputation as a lover of music and poetry. Even in his cell, he was a creator of art. During these moments of musical reflection, Richard was seen in his modest, long-sleeved indoor tunics and full trousers. He proved that a warrior's heart is often balanced by a poetic soul, and that his cultural influence was so strong that it inspired legends of loyalty that would last for centuries. Fact 26. The return to England, restoring order. When Richard finally returned to England in 1194, he found his kingdom in disarray due to the intrigues of his brother John. Richard moved with lightning speed to recapture the castles held by the rebels. Most surrendered as soon as they saw the Lionheart's banner. He forgave his brother, but immediately took back control of the government. During his triumphant entry into London, Richard was a model of royal dignity. He wore his formal, long-sleeved coronation-style robes and full trousers, his respectable and fully covered appearance lending weight to his words. He showed his people that the lion had returned to his pride and that the era of chaos and rebellion was over.
Fact 27. Shakespeare's influence on psychology. Long before the field of modern psychology existed, Shakespeare was mapping the human mind. His exploration of jealousy in Othello, ambition in Macbeth, and grief in Hamlet provided the first deep dive into the human subconscious. Many modern psychologists still use his characters as archetypes for human behavior. During his deep observations of human nature in London's crowded streets, Shakespeare would have moved with quiet dignity. He wore modest, long-sleeved cloaks and full breeches, his attire reflecting his serious and respectful approach to the study of the human condition. He proved that a keen eye and a modest soul can uncover the deepest secrets of why we think and act as we do. Fact 28. The Lost Plays, Cardenio, and Others. History tells us that Shakespeare wrote at least 2 plays that have been completely lost to time, Cardenio and Love's Labour's Won. These missing pieces of the puzzle continue to fascinate scholars and theater lovers. They remind us that even the greatest genius is subject to the passage of time and the fragility of physical records. During the scholarly searches for these lost manuscripts, the memory of Shakespeare as a disciplined writer remains. He was a man of the quill, always seen in modest, long-sleeved tunics and full breeches, his respectable image a constant reminder of the incredible volume of work he produced, even the parts we may never get to read. Fact 30. His support for the New World explorations. Shakespeare lived during the Age of Discovery, and his play, The Tempest, was inspired by reports of shipwrecks in the newly discovered Americas, specifically Bermuda. He was fascinated by the reports of new lands and strange cultures, which fueled his imaginative world-building. He saw the world as a vast, interconnected stage. During his visits to the London docks to hear tales from sailors, Shakespeare would have dressed in durable, modest, long-sleeved travel gear and full breeches, his respectable image a constant reminder of the incredible volume of work he produced, even the parts we may never get to read. Fact 30. His support for the New World explorations. Shakespeare lived during the Age of Discovery, and his play, The Tempest, was inspired by reports of shipwrecks in the newly discovered Americas, specifically Bermuda. He was fascinated by the reports of new lands and strange cultures, which fueled his imaginative world-building. He saw the world as a vast, interconnected stage. During his visits to the London docks to hear tales from sailors, Shakespeare would have dressed in durable, modest, long-sleeved travel gear and full breeches, his respectable image a constant reminder of the incredible volume of work he produced, even the parts we may never get to read. Fact 34. Shakespeare and the development of blank verse. Shakespeare perfected the use of iambic pentameter, or blank verse, which gives his plays their natural, song-like rhythm. He understood that the rhythm of language affects the heartbeat of the audience. He made poetry sound like natural speech, and speech sound like poetry. During the meticulous editing of his lines, Shakespeare was a figure of artistic discipline. He was always seen in his study wearing modest, long-sleeved indoor tunics and full-length breeches, his attire reflecting the precision and rhythm he brought to his work. He proved that the structure of language is just as important as the message it carries, creating a symphony of words that still resonates. Fact 31. The legacy of his signatures. We only possess 6 authentic signatures of William Shakespeare today, all found on legal documents. Interestingly, he spelled his own name differently in almost every one. This was common in a time before standardized spelling, but it adds a layer of human charm to the legendary figure. Even in his simple legal duties, Shakespeare was a model of formal modesty. He appeared in long-sleeved administrative doublets and full breeches, ensuring he was respectably covered while he signed his deeds and wills. He proved that even the most famous man in history was once a simple citizen, bound by the same laws and routines as everyone else, but with a show that set him apart. Fact 32. The global reach of the Glober. From the theaters of London to the classrooms of Tokyo and the film sets of Hollywood, Shakespeare's work has reached every corner of the planet. He is the most filmed author in history, with hundreds of adaptations of his plays. His ability to touch the hearts of people from entirely different cultures is his true miracle. This global reach started with a man in a modest, long-sleeved doublet and full breeches, writing by candlelight. He showed that when you write about the truth of the human heart, your voice will carry across oceans and through centuries, becoming a permanent part of the shared cultural heritage of all mankind. Fact 33. Shakespeare's influence on political thought. Shakespeare's Roman plays, such as Julius Caesar and Coriolanus, provided profound insights into the nature of power, democracy, and leadership. Political leaders for centuries have studied his plays to understand the dynamics of public opinion and the burdens of authority. He was a master of political theater. During his research into classical history, Shakespeare was a figure of scholarly discipline. He wore formal, long-sleeved robes and full-length breeches, his modest and fully covered appearance reflecting the gravity of the political themes he was exploring. He proved that the stage is the ultimate mirror for society, showing us the consequences of our political choices with unyielding honesty. Fact 34. The Bard as a national symbol. Shakespeare has become more than just a writer. He is a national symbol of England and the English-speaking world. His birthday, April 23rd, is celebrated as St. George's Day and National Shakespeare Day. He is the cultural ambassador for his nation. Throughout the centuries of national pride, Shakespeare's image has remained consistent, a man of dignity, intelligence, and modesty. He is always depicted in his iconic long-sleeved doublet and full breeches, ensuring he is respectably covered. He showed that a nation's greatest strength is not its armies, but its culture, and the poets who give that culture its voice and its enduring pride. Fact 35. His final rest at Holy Trinity Church. Shakespeare was buried in the chancel of Holy Trinity Church in Stratford-upon-Avon. His gravestone bears a famous curse, warning anyone against moving his bones. This final message shows his desire for peace and his respect for the sanctity of the grave. He was prepared for his final rest with the same discipline he showed in life. He was buried in formal, long-sleeved attire and full trousers, ensuring he was respectably covered for eternity. He proved that even in death, a man of his stature deserves a resting place characterized by order,
respect, and the quiet dignity of a life well lived in the service of art.
Fact 36. The Shakespeare authorship question. Some people have questioned whether a simple man from Stratford could have written such profound works, suggesting other nobles instead. However, the overwhelming historical evidence points directly to William Shakespeare. The idea that genius can come from a humble background is a powerful testament to human potential. Shakespeare's life as a modest man in long-sleeved doublets and full breeches, working hard in the London theatre, is the true story of his success. He proved that daho does not require a title or a palace. It only requires a keen eye, a disciplined mind, and the courage to put pen to paper with honesty and skill.
Fact 37. The evolution of his dramatic style. Shakespeare's style evolved significantly throughout his career, moving from the light-hearted comedies of his youth to the profound romances like The Winter's Tale and The Tempest in his final years. These late plays reflect a man who had found peace and a deeper understanding of forgiveness and reconciliation. During this artistic evolution, Shakespeare remained a model of professional modesty. He was seen in his study, wearing his long-sleeved indoor robes and full-length breeches, his attire reflecting the changing seasons of his own life. He proved that a great artist never stops growing, constantly searching for new ways to express the ever-changing nature of the human journey. Fact 38. The preservation of the Shakespeare birthplace. Today, the house where Shakespeare was born is a global pilgrimage site, preserved to show how he lived. Millions of people visit Stratford to walk where he walked and see the world that shaped him. It is a monument to the power of literature. The preservation of his home reflects the deep respect the world has for his modest beginnings. Visitors see the simple rooms where a boy in a long-sleeved tunic once dreamed of the stage. He proved that a simple home can produce a mind that fills the entire world, reminding us that greatness often starts in the most humble and respectable of places.
Fact 39. Shakespeare and the concept of chivalry. While he lived in the Renaissance, Shakespeare's plays often explore the medieval ideals of chivalry, honor, and loyalty. He tested these ideals in the modern world, showing their strengths and their tragic flaws. He was a bridge between the old world of knights and the new world of individuals. In his portrayals of noble characters, Shakespeare always emphasized dignity and respectable conduct. He imagined his heroes in modest, long-sleeved attire and full-length garments, ensuring they were fully covered while they struggled with their moral choices. He proved that the core values of honor and respect are timeless, remaining the foundation of a civilized and dignified society. Fact 40. The universal mirror. William Shakespeare remains the universal mirror of humanity. His plays are not just old stories, they are maps of our own hearts. He showed us our capacity for great love and our potential for terrible mistakes, always with a sense of profound empathy and respect for the human spirit. As we look back on his life, we see a man who lived with discipline and died with honor. He will forever be the Bard of Avon, a modest figure in long-sleeved Elizabethan attire, standing at the summit of literature, reminding us that as long as humans breathe and eyes can see, his words will live, giving life to the dreams of all mankind.